Set up and ready to go. So, hello everyone, and welcome back to Factorio. So, let's click resume, and then we can get right back into it. Alright, so, when we last left off, we were just letting Gleba scale up, right? So we need to make more modules so that we can build more of these guys, so that we can make more modules, etc. But in addition to that, we also need to get more fruit on these belts, because currently it is nowhere near enough. So let's work on that. So all we need to do to get that is to just expand that out, which might be easier said than done. Well, we have a couple hundred of each of those, so that should be fine. Okay, so if we just copy paste this, and let's see, where do we need to get this placed? So if we go too far over this way, we're going to run out of the biome, I think, which is not good. So we want it to go sort of up this way instead. So the red shows that it can't do it no matter what, and the other colors are better than that. Alright, so yeah, let's go up this way, and we need to make sure to leave some space. I can't remember exactly how this is supposed to line up, but I don't think we need to leave vertical space really, so I think if we just do this, it'll be fine. And so we have like one extra row here, and it would be really cool if we could just get these to all connect up to each other. So we need the fruits to combine up like this. So the fruits combine up like that. And then we need this to go underground for a bit, so that the seeds can go over to here, and then up to there. Alright, we've managed to make this work. So then we get a little bit of extra space in there so that this can pop on over. And that is that. So once all those belts get placed in, we're probably missing like one belt in here somewhere. There we go. Okay, then we just need to make sure that the power lines connect up. And there we go. Okay, so the power lines are connected. This output needs to be stopped temporarily so that we don't put wood and spoilage onto this belt, which is what's going to happen otherwise. And then all we need to do is get the Yumiko soil, and none of this is in the easy things, so we have to go to overgrowth Yumiko soil and then just start clicking. I wish I knew how much soil this took. I guess I could figure out. It's, oh, hang on, I have to have that selected. It's 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18, 21 by 21. That's quite a lot. It's like, what, 400-ish? Somewhere in that range. Okay. So we just fill in all of this, and we have to fill in the entire area. Alright, and I guess we're missing 2 of the spots in the center, so it'll be slightly less than that, but still somewhere in that vicinity. So I think we should have enough to just build this up then. So if we just do that. And, okay, it looks like there might be... It might turn into the other biome just up here. Yeah, this is like right at the edge of it. So we aren't going to be able to finish it off entirely. We're going to have to find another spot to build this then. So let's see here. So this could go basically everywhere but in that area. It's kind of strange, but yeah, I don't know why that area isn't valid, but whatever. Okay, so now this, we need to get rid of that spoilage, we need to get rid of all that wood, and we need to clear off these belts the rest of the way. And there's still some random junk on the belts, so let's make sure to clear all that out. And now, okay, so that last bit is gone, and I think now we're good. Oh wait, is this, that square looks buildable. Yeah, so we can get one more square in, and that'll be nice to have. So now this is just doing its thing. That's the last seed planted, and we can just connect that back up. There's nothing in there that doesn't need to be there. This is all correct. Yeah, so we're all good now. So that's another most of a Yumiko agricultural tower done. And then I guess we should probably also add another one down to here. So if we grab this and we just build you up there. Is that lined up right? Yeah, I think that's lined up right. So we pop that in, and then we need to connect these up. And we do have the one extra space, so that should be easy. So that connects down there. This goes over to that way. And actually, I think I was overthinking it last time. This should be able to just go up like that and not be in the way of anything. So that all connects up, and then we get the power lines as well. And then we're going to need this to be powered so that we can start filtering out the junk from it. But that should be that. And foundation is in, and we just need the electrical pole. Alright, electrical pole, there you go. So now this is running, and we need to disconnect those belts so that it doesn't get away with it. And then we go artificial jelly nut soil. Apparently none of this is useful for that. So overgrowth jelly nut soil. And now we get clicking and dragging. Really feels like there should be a way of pasting the soil. And maybe there is actually with like a blueprint or something. That's probably possible. For now though, we don't need to do so much that it's an issue. So we get all this stuff in. There's like a weird spot in the middle there, which isn't letting me do for some reason. So let's just keep painting all this stuff in. And we're almost done. Almost done. Okay, I think that's everything. Except for that weird little puddle in there that we can't do. I have no idea why that's the case. But we have enough of all the stuff for it. So that can then get built. And now this is going to be spending its time clearing all the space out. Yeah, some of the space in here is red. I don't know why. There's just 3 invalid spaces in the middle of an otherwise perfectly valid thing, but who knows? I guess that's just the way that it is. So all the rest of this stuff goes in, and these areas are starting to be cleared out. So I think at this point it's gotten all of the random plants out, and it's just a matter of it planting the seeds and getting everything else done. So let's go to here, grab that spoilage out, clear out that belt, and build it back in. And there are no other spoilage or anything on any of those. So now we can just finish that belt off and have our additional jelly nut production. Alright, so that is that. Now this area here, it's got artillery cover and some rockets, but it could certainly be better. Could certainly be better. Okay, speaking of artillery cover, let's shoot something down there. That looks like there's something down this area. Okay, there's nothing. That's neat. Certainly don't mind there not actually being anything, when I was worried that there would be. Was that flickering because of a nest? It's probably too close. It's probably too close to my artillery that it would have been auto-shot. Not entirely sure how that works, though. So this is now waiting for plants to grow, as are all the rest of these guys. And meanwhile, go up here, and it looks like the supplies of Yumiko are now enough for where we're at. And we'll just have to see if the jelly nut also catches up to that point. And also, we can bring the transport platform down to get even more modules delivered. So that should be cool. How is this going production-wise? Pretty well. So we've made... It only says 100 products-ish in there. That feels wrong, though. I'm pretty sure it's been more than that. But who knows? So this is going. It's going to get more Yumiko mash. And that should help us out. Okay, so now the Yumiko mash backlog has subsided a little bit. And that's like something to consider, is that these things tend to come in bursts, which can make it hard to tell like what the average value is. It's like we pretty clearly don't have enough jelly nuts, but as far as the Yumikos go, who knows? So that is still waiting for plants to grow, but it looks like they're almost there. So the first harvest from our new agri tower here should be starting any second now. See, these ones down here are like 98%. Yeah, there we go. So now that can harvest. And there we go. So that's the first sort of extra wave of jelly nuts that we get from this new tower. And that should just keep on going now. So that's good. And then up here, it's going to take a while for that to trickle on up. And now how much of this stuff do we have left? 200 and like 400-ish. Still probably not enough to restart. And we're mostly waiting on biter eggs and jelly nut seeds. Why do we not have enough jelly nut seeds? That's kind of surprising. Okay. Is it just because for some reason this isn't at 200? I guess in the short term it's because we just planted a bunch. So that probably accounts for like 50 or more seeds. And then we just have to wait for the rest of them to show up. So Gleba support, you are carrying your 100-some plastic back to Novice. You just left. You also got a whole bunch of bioflux. Let's check on the bioflux, because I think I had noticed that this was going down, but I think it may have stabilized at this point. Just using as much bioflux as we produce. And there's randomly 16 legendary plastic bars in that storage chest, which hopefully will get sent back up eventually. Okay, so transport platform almost here. This setup has been deactivated, right? We don't do anything with all this anymore. Yeah, so let's just tear that down. Save some nutrients. Oh wait, no, it hasn't been deactivated apparently. There's legendary bioflux in there now. How did that get there? Was it purely... Oh, wait. I guess these down here still do things, technically. Not much, but technically not nothing. Alright, I guess we can leave that in, I guess. It's not a big deal. It's just some epic... What are these called? Epics? Yeah, just epic productivity modules and a tiny bit of nutrients. So we might as well if it gives us a legendary plastic every so often. Okay, let's take out some of these belts, which are just holding spoilage at this point. So this stuff isn't being used anymore. It can all go away. And that gets output prioritied. That gets output prioritied. Okay. That is better. And yeah, the problem is it's kind of difficult to turn things off. And it's also difficult to like dismantle belts when you're not 100% sure that they're useless. But this area... Okay, surely we take that area out. We need that chest, and we need the drone port back. Alright, so the drone port can just go back, and that should still be close enough to connect everything up that needs to be connected. And then that power line can go down there. And there we go. That's all good. So now this area looks a whole lot less like it was just recently destroyed. So we can take out all that stuff as well. And those ones. Okay. So that's just purely for neatening things up a little bit. And there's more we can do over here with the seed belts. Although it's a bit harder to tell exactly what needs to be going on there. Okay, let's check, because we'd seen that these jelly nut seeds a moment ago were having issues, but they've fully bounced back now. So that's good. So that's all going fine. And now we're just waiting on these guys to produce more stuff so that we can do that. And, okay, Gleba did get that last delivery of quality modules. And that means that all of these are now running at full efficiency with the exception of a couple of productivity modules. Still missing 5 of those. So you can just turn around and head back to Novice. So, in the meantime, we have this guy here who is also making legendary plastic out of this cryogenic plant. But it is draining like 20 trillion coal to do so. And I believe that our coal supply is not great. So we could go down here and there's plenty of coal. So it's not really an issue. Should probably also deal with these biters at some point. So we just want to clear out enough space that the pollution cloud isn't a thing anymore that we need to worry about. There's so much to do to get that to work, though. Oh, speaking of, how's uranium going? Still have 2 million of that. And this is still just completely filled up with everything that we could ever need. So that's all good. So there's the very slight chance that this eventually runs out. I guess we can... This is extreme overkill on the uranium supply, but we might as well. It's basically free. It's not like these need to be outputting at any reasonable rate. Okay, so that's going. And the quality modules, how is that going? We've got another 9 of them built up over here. And plastic is still not doing great. So, how is this going then? We've got 2 up here, and this is still just cycling away as fast as possible. It seems to be up and running again. There have been occasional hiccups with this setup, but right now it seems to be working just fine. So that's cool. Alright, let's see. Anything to do here? No, it should be okay. We're trying to phase away from that anyways. So then the other thing which we care about is Fulgora. Right, so we have legendary holmium plates coming in from Fulgora. How many of those do we have to spare? Because eventually that might become the limiting factor, not plastic. So here we have 100 in this chest and just 5 extras out of it. So that seems incredibly suspiciously like something which is about to become the main limiting factor, which is a whole lot more complicated to fix than the rest of it. So we have the holmium plate cycling, so this is happening and it's going fine. I wonder if it's probably better to do superconductors because this is in an EM plant which has a productivity bonus. That's probably just more efficient in terms of usage, but it would require... I guess it would technically make legendary copper and plastic as well as the legendary holmium plates. And then we also need to do something with all of this concrete as well. So like the main limiting factor here right now is it's not holmium ore, it's not stone, it's not recycling space. The main limiting factor is our ability to crunch down scrap at a reasonable pace. And so currently this is all doing its thing. And this belt isn't cooperating well. So, let's see here. It's gears and what's the rate? Like, gears are the fastest at almost 3 per second per recycler. And then solid fuel and concrete as well. So if we can just deal with the gears, then everything becomes a whole lot nicer. So, okay, let's get this, and we're gonna copy that setting, and then we're gonna paste it down there, and then filter the gears out to this way, and that will give us more space to interact with them. Unless, okay, yeah, no, we do have cliff explosives here. There we go. So the gears go down this way, and then they can go into a box for the short term, and then they need a designated filter thing. So there's going to be so many of them. So we need enough space. And then we kind of just want to yoink this guy and pop it into here. So if we just do that, then all of that has the ability to get made because there's no pop-ups. So then these guys need to filter and loop back into here. And they need to go input priority left and input priority right. And then hopefully that just murders all the gears and all the iron plates and such as well. So now we have the gears filtered out of this, which means that all of this can just run smoothly now, right? So that's cool. However, these guys are still mostly full up waiting on gears, and there's really nothing that we can do about that. What is this? Why is that backwards? Oh, wait, no, this isn't backwards. This is backwards. Don't know how I managed to do that. Okay, so that should be plenty of recyclers to clear all that stuff out. So now what we need to do is, first of all, apparently the blue circuits are having a bit of a moment there. Not sure why that was. Blue circuits aren't even a super high output. No, they're way down on the list, so I don't know how that happened. Okay, so we've filtered the gears out. They're not an issue anymore, except for all of this stuff, which, like, even with the gears out doing their own separate thing, the rest of this is all just way too much. Which makes sense. So hopefully that will have increased the holmium ore supply a little bit. Okay. I really want to just redesign this whole thing. So this is obviously the problem is that this is just too many recyclers all in one area. Like, this belt isn't enough to do all that. So we need to have fewer recyclers here, or just really spread them out more. I don't know. I'm not sure. Staring at Fulgora for ages. So the thing is, I do have plans for Fulgora, so eventually I'm going to use a whole lot more trains to like connect all these different land masses and have them like all dedicated for organizing different things out. For now, though, we just want to get it working a little bit better than it is. And it looks like now... I mean, so the thing is, the gears are dealt with here. So they have their own designated area. They're not going to be in the way on this area up here anymore. But there's still a whole bunch of other things in here, like the wires and all this stuff. It actually seems like it's doing worse now that the gears are gone. Probably because it's breaking down more complicated items, which is kind of strange. But so the next highest throughput thing... Okay, wait. I just noticed that the low density structures box is empty. The low density structures box is empty, meaning that we actually don't have enough of those. Is this logistics storage 2400? But the box down here is completely empty. So why is... Oh, are they... Is that because they have a recycler? Yeah, it is. Okay. So that's something. Do the blue circuits have a recycler too? Yes, but it's not keeping up. Okay. So that's fine. Fulgora is such a giant mess. I cannot wait until I basically just tear the entire planet apart and rebuild something different. So I wonder if we just give up on having these be quality modules. Technically it's giving us some value, but I mean this has been running for many, many streams, and that's all we have to show for it. Okay, weirdly the amount of accumulators has gone down dramatically. I'm not sure when I destroyed a bunch of accumulators. Oh, it's this area down here got disconnected. That's when. Okay. So we just need to pop a power pole in there to connect those all up. And then we should be fine now. Back up to 1.7, and we should have... Right, we'd added all of this specifically because we needed the power production from the lightning. And there, now we have it. Okay, this looks like it's going a fair bit better now. So it looks like just filtering out those gears really did work. So, I wonder if we can do more of that sort of thing. So, let's see here. What else? It looks like the top row, so the belt is obviously split into two halves. It looks like the top half here is doing better than the bottom half here. So, let's see here. The bottom half is low density structures, blue circuits, wire is 0.42, red circuits are 0.42, stone is 0.56. Okay, so let's have the stone also filter out to go down this way. So that should still... So that should just spread out the stress more across the two belts. Wait, I thought I had clicked that filter in, but I hadn't. It's fine. So ultimately, like 99% of this stuff was intended to be destroyed anyways. That's not a problem. There might be like one or two holmium ores in there, which I'll be sad to miss, but it's fine. That is ultimately not going to destroy the planet. Okay. So now all of this stuff has stone in it. So we need to just, like, connect that down to there temporarily to get the stone out. And there we go. So now that doesn't need to exist anymore. And this is now all running again. Except this side of the belt has lost its single biggest demand. And this side of the belt now has two big demands. So we'll see if that's able to keep up. And we might upgrade that whole stretch to turbo belts to help out a little bit. Because we're not fully using the recyclers, so that can still be beneficial. Okay. So the thing is, right, as long as we keep doing this, eventually we're just going to hit the point of this belt will be running at full speed, and then that will be that, and there'll be nothing more that we can do. Okay, I just noticed that this actually, that not being upgraded is actually bottlenecking the gear wheels going through here a little bit. I don't know if that was an issue, but if it is, then it's fixed now. So now the items going up here is even higher, and the holmium plate production should also be a little bit higher. And we've got epic quality modules in here. It's so expensive to replace these with legendaries that I'm fine just leaving it be for now. And hopefully that change will just be enough at this point. So let's see here. What else do we need to bring out? I guess if we have gear wheels and stone, and like we then also bring like wire down here, then that should help with this. So at some point this is going to run out of space as well. Okay, I'm surprised that these ones are actually limited by the amount of recycling a lot of the time, or if it's very close anyways. Actually, are these... Oh, I see. So that's an improvement we can make. These are actually limited by inserter speed. So if we just spam a couple more inserters in everywhere, then that should accelerate how fast these can use items. So now these have higher uptime, which should be pretty convenient. And there we go. Now that's going through, and we're starting to get close, actually, I think. So we're starting to get close to the point where this is all being fully utilized. And I wonder if... Yeah, let's take these quality modules out and replace them with speed modules. The amount of quality coming out of here is absolutely abysmal. In the future, we might want to replace... We might want to use quality modules in these things eventually, because it is just kind of free items. But for now, I think it's better to do it this way. So that's all set up. We still didn't run ourselves out of modules with that. And now this should be going through items even faster. So yeah, now all of these are going as fast as they can, basically. And looking pretty good. yeah, it looks like we've managed to get it to the point where this input belt is now the exclusive limiting factor. And if that is the case, then I do see maybe, wait, no, so these output to the near side, so they don't automatically fill the belt. Okay, so what I want to do is just get a second belt in here. So let's actually cut this so that we can then paste it. Oh, I clicked the button, thank you. So that gets cut, and it is going to go just like back here somewhere. And then that will feed into it. And that is going to need to be upgraded because this is all high-speed stuff. Okay. Waiting on the drones mostly. We should also check back on Gleba. Is this working? Okay, we seem to still be having actual resource input problems on Gleba. So we're gonna have to pop back to fix that, but let's finish doing this first. Okay, so you guys output onto that, and then that loops around and goes onto the opposite side of this. So now these guys, wait, no, this has to go one further down before it'll do it correctly. So now these guys are feeding both sides of that belt. Then we go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So we go down like after 4-ish of these. We take these guys out and feed them into both sides of that belt. And then we can pop that down into there. So now we have 2 belts going into that splitter. And now we upgrade probably just this entire thing. And we have the items to do all those upgrades, so that's good. And now why are you stuck? Because this got broken somehow. Okay, what on earth? So it's not that. Wait, no, it's... I figured it out. It's up here around there. And then that's going to need to be upgraded so that this uses both sides of its belt as well. And now that fills across. And look at all of that holmium ore that we're getting out right now. Okay. So now the problem is... Now the problem is this splitter, so we can only output to one side of this splitter, and we need both. Okay, so how do we... We need to filter the holmium off of both of these individually, I guess, before they merge up. Because if we try to do that after they merge up, then it'll just cause this to happen. So this is like effectively one full belt plus the holmium supply, but we want this to be more than a full belt. Actually, how practical is that? Because this all runs on a single belt up to this point, past the concrete. So if we wanted this to sort out 2 belts, we would need to fundamentally redesign it. Yeah, okay, let's just leave it as this for now. So we have a full belt, and then the holmium supply is free, basically. And that is pretty good. That is pretty neat. Okay, so back over to Gleba. This is doing its thing. And we have almost no items. So the Yumiko mash isn't even backed up enough to fill that. These guys all have seeds, right? Yes, so these are all good. We just need like an infinite number of the Yumiko mash. Alright, so we're gonna need to expand this out even more, and probably by a lot. So how much soil do we have? We have 400 there. Only like 280 there. That's not enough. 280 soil is probably not enough to fill up another plot. And these are still just waiting on biter eggs. So, Gleba support, you have been the source of biter eggs, right? So you supply 1,000 of them instead of 500, so that should be doubled. There's a cargo bay up there. I'm not sure what happened to cause that. Did this like take damage or something? Who knows how that happened? Who knows? Weird stuff going on here. So Gleba support is fully solar powered. So there's nothing weird going on here, although I guess this is a little bit concerning in the ratio of items that it has. So do we have the room to fit another one of those in? We do, but we don't have the foundations to build it. So we need to be filtering out more asteroids, basically. Specifically of this type here. Yeah, actually, is Gleba support even working? How are you managing to stay functional with this much backlog? Like, we need all the types of asteroid for this to work, and we're getting, like, one of them. Okay, so I guess the ice gets filtered off up there, and the metal gets filtered off down there. So it's not so bad, but it's still pretty terrible. We'll get that space platform foundation for this guy in a second, and then hopefully that will keep it going better. I guess it's fine. Like, it's been running like this for an absolute eternity and not had any problems. Alright, so, the biter eggs. Biter eggs, there's 200 on the way. Okay, so that's not enough. We want there to be a full rocket of biter eggs waiting for you. And so that would mean expanding out this, or just getting more biter eggs into the rockets from the other one. So we have our main supply of biter eggs up here, obviously. So first of all, we need to expand this, and second of all, I think we need to have a launch pad over here. So let's get a rocket silo. Just pop you down there. And we're going to get you your ability to request some biter eggs. Or not biter eggs. You are requesting rocket fuel, low density structures. Rocket fuel, check. Low density structures, check. And processing units. So we have all those feeding into this. And this is not going to be automatic requests. This is going to be a designated biter egg thing. Okay, so we need to have a way of building those up. Because Gleba support, it got 400 some, which is nowhere near what we want. Okay, I wonder if actually, can these be placed on buildable on novice? Yes, we can't just like sprint a captive biter spawner over to Gleba and then just have a local supply. That would be too easy. That would just be too easy. Alright, so instead, let's get this new rocket launch pad all moduled up. There we go, so it can launch relatively quickly when it needs to. And then we need to figure out how... Actually, hang on. Does this need to be in here? Yes, it does, because it is going to be having biter eggs in it, which could pop at any moment. Okay, so what we need is... If we just have way more biter egg supply, then that would help, right? So what I'm thinking is... what I'm thinking is we need to either, like, know that Gleba support is coming, build up 1,000 biter eggs, and then have them ready to launch. Or we... And I have no idea how to do that, aside from just having 1,000 biter eggs on hand at any given time, which seems unwise. And then the alternative would be to just simply have like a constant supply. Oh wait, I just had an idea. I think I might know how to store up 1,000 biter eggs all at once. Okay, so step one, I don't even know if we produce biter eggs fast enough to get that many without like constantly feeding in only to the rocket silo, but so we have a chest. We have the chest filtered to be so we have the chest output on spoilage priority to always take the most spoiled biter egg out, and then that runs to either the rocket silo or a heating tower, and then as long as the input is faster than the output, but the output is faster than the spoilage rate, then it'll work. Okay, it's going to be complicated, that's for sure. So let's just do this on drone ports, because why not? So we get a requester chest there, and a bulk inserter there. So the bulk inserter needs to read from here. We need to read orbital requests, and you need to turn on... Okay, we actually want you to be a stack inserter because we want you to just fill as fast as humanly possible. So you activate enable, disable if biter eggs is greater than 0. So that should be fine. That should be all that we need. And then, how long does it take a biter egg to spoil? 30 minutes. Okay, so 30 minutes, they stack to 100. So if we just... I'm not sure like the exact mechanical details of how we're doing this, but it's going to be something like that out to there and then into a heating tower. So something like this. You do spoiled priority spoiled first, and you can do spoiled priority fresh first. So that should hopefully keep that under control. And then we have to figure out how to get this fast inserter going. And I suppose we just have it output. Okay, we can just have this to keep it at 1,000. So you get logistics requests, biter eggs, 1,000. So you have that now. And then you read from there, read contents, and enable disable if biter eggs is greater than 1,000. Okay, but then this needs to be set to like 1,001 or something. So if that's set to 1,001, and this will remove the last one, theoretically that should do it, right? If we have enough biter egg production to keep up with that, and if it's all fast enough, so we might have to tweak the numbers on that to make it work. And then because that's going to be 1,000 biters all in one place, let's add a couple extra laser turrets in just to make sure. And honestly, this would be a use case for flamethrower turrets where you can just get the AoE and have that be great. Okay, so we're able to build up a couple hundred pretty quickly, but we definitely need more of these. We definitely need more of these. So let's... Okay, we can just have them going down this way. So let's make this line nice and straight instead of being all curved like it is currently. And now that all this belt has been filtered out, we're not wasting any bioflux, we can chop all that off. And now, if we copy-paste this and flip you vertically so that the bioflux input is going down instead of up, now we pop that in, we get all that built, and then we just bring this row to go down and over this way, and then I guess we just sort of have to creep it around like that and go in to the box. So that will build up over an extended period of time, but there shouldn't be any funny business. This is now certainly the most secure area in the base by a significant margin. And all these guys have access to their bioflux. There's already plenty in here, and hopefully that'll stay going. Okay, this just successfully launched a couple hundred. Okay, but it launched a couple hundred, but it didn't launch 1,000. So your minimum payload can go up to 500, because I think we're consistently going to have those now. And hopefully we're getting fresh biter eggs, because we are sorting by freshest for this, so that should be fine. They don't have to last long, they just have to make it up to Gleba. They just have to make it up to Gleba. And then on Gleba, this is still just cooking away. We're up to almost 300 plastic produced here, which could be a lot worse. And we also have another solid delivery of modules, which I guess we will do mostly for the productivity modules this time, because we need those to get more use out of our fruits, which are currently the limiting factor. Okay, so now we have the problem where this is overfilled because the rocket was able to get away. So yeah, the rocket was able to escape to get somewhere else before this launched. So that is a problem, because now we have 400 some biter eggs here. Okay, I know how to fix that. So all we have to do is get an insert there, which will be removed. I don't think this needs to be filtered, but it'll be filtered just in case. So it will be removing those and tossing them into a passive provider chest if... so this needs to be enable disable on biter eggs demand equals 0, right? So this reads orbital requests. So if there is no requests for biter eggs, this will pull them out, pop them in a passive provider chest, and then they can do whatever it is that they need to do with that. And let's see if that works. It should work, right? Oh, waiting for target to be built. Yeah, that makes sense. We need that passive provider chest in, and yes, so now we pull all those biter eggs out. There might be like 1 or 2 left in there because this is a stack inserter. And we're probably not in a rush, right? That can probably be a bulk inserter just to prevent weird stuff like that from happening. So now this is building up, and it's like 800. So that's going to be a big improvement. The biter egg supply itself is also steadily increasing. Does this count how many items it's burned? No, it does not. That would have been nice to know. I don't think we're wasting that much, but certainly it's not completely zero waste bioflux here. Alright, so now we happen to look as there's a big wave of Yumiko fruits. I wonder if there's some... I mean, the thing is, like, they all ultimately get used, right? So the only ones that aren't getting used, obviously, are these ones which got past here in the first place. And those all turn to spoilage. But as we expand this, there'll be fewer of... Those will just go through, and then that'll all happen. So, like, every Yumiko fruit and jelly nut that goes here is eventually getting used. Or spoiling. But if it's spoiling, then that means that we have enough supply. Because these don't spoil fast at all. Let's see, where does it say how long these spoil? Yeah, so these take an hour to spoil. So realistically, that's not happening unless there's actually too many of them. And if there's actually too many of them, then that's fine, obviously. Okay, so this is going. So these ones down here are fed. All of these up here, the entire row is currently fed. And we have the occasional legendary Yumiko mash and such going out. We don't need to worry about them spoiling on the way, right? So those spoil... Let's see here. Regular Yumiko mash spoils in 3 minutes. But legendary stuff has like 6 minutes. There's no way it takes 6 minutes. Like, I don't care how much we expand this belt. It's not going to take him 6 minutes to get all the way down there. And so that should be fine. Worst case, if that does somehow become a problem, first of all, that's a good problem to have. Second of all, we can upgrade these belts to make them go faster, and we can start adding new lanes on the opposite side here, which would be a bit annoying, but would it be fine. But mostly we're just in the position of that would be a good problem to have rather than like trying to fix it. So over here, this is all working. You are hovering at 999 items. And this... Okay, I think you need to be stack size. I think you need to be stack size of 1, potentially. I really wish there was a way of just like deliberately grabbing the one item. And also the... Why are they not taking them from here? Like where are these last couple biter eggs coming from? It says there's 4 on the way. So I wonder if we do want this to just be like directly connected. Might be helpful. Might also cause some weird issues. We're up to 8 productivity modules here. Still missing advanced circuits. How is the holmium plate supply going? This is technically depleting. It's very, very slow. But last time I checked we had 1. Last time I checked we had like 5 extras, and now we have like 1 extra. Is Fulgora support bringing... Okay, Fulgora support's bringing another 11. And a bunch of other assorted junk, actually. Or wait, no, it's just holding those. It's not bringing them from Fulgora, it's bringing them to Fulgora, because we have these legendary recyclers, which we should probably start sending around, because they're not doing anything just sitting there. Not doing anything at all, just sitting there doing nothing. So what items does this take? It takes legendary concrete, process units, gear wheels, and steel plates. So it's pretty expensive, honestly. So does Fulgora support carry legendary recyclers? It does. And does Novice request legendary recyclers? I assume it does not. I'm pretty sure I don't remember doing that. Okay, yeah, you just request regular recyclers. So let's get that request in. Production. Legendary recyclers. Give us 20 of those. Why not? That'll be good to have. And then we'll be able to use that to, I mean, start saving some modules, really, is the main thing. So, like, we'll be able to, and we've already done this a little bit, where we can make these first ones go faster. So these 3 can take, like, almost 100 coal between them. And so past that, it's mostly just a problem of having different types and also the input volume. So like these are constantly target full. So you're outputting into these stack inserters, which are the main limiting factor here. Whereas you don't do that, you just output like a normal person. And so you're going a lot faster. Yeah, you're going like 3 times as fast, apparently. Okay, that's cool. So in that case, yeah, let's just get that in then. Oh wait, no, it's important that we do it that way. Well, I think we will still. I think it's still worth it. But this will make using the other side of the belt more difficult, which is something to consider. And these need to be turbo. So these guys are all putting on the far side of the belt, whereas these guys are all putting on the near side of the belt. And these are at max 24, so that's probably fine. This belt can probably handle those 3, so it should be okay. Yeah, it should be fine. Okay. We'll have to stop back in a little bit to check that out. Where are Which are the ones which want... Oh, these ones are the ones which want epic quality modules. Well, you are not going to get those, I don't think. Because the biter eggs are not a major limiting factor right now. So go back to Gleba, and so this is lower than it was. It's still pretty solidly backlogged. So that's probably fine. We might have just barely caught up to where we need to be to get this done. It's hard to say, but I think we're just barely caught up to that. And now we just need to be producing plastic. And how is the biter supply going? We have 573 of those, 366 of these. That's probably enough to get in another row, at least most of one. And that should help because, yeah, the Yumiko is now falling back a bit. So, let's see here. Is this really just like the worst possible place that my farm could be? Like, there's just no space here. Okay, so let's just copy paste you. And that whole area is, I guess, underwater and thus invalid. I wonder if like foundations can fix that, or if there's just some other thing that we're supposed to be doing for that. So then this area here is like mostly just not the right biome anymore. What about down here? Also mostly not the right biome anymore. Up here is quite good. You put it up there, that would work. And I'm trying to figure out like what the pattern is for this. So I guess it's this light yellow area, but not that sort of darkish area. There's got to be some way of like filling that in. I wonder if... Okay, this is pure science time. So if we have landfill here, right? So if we landfill that area and then plant on top of the landfill, does that work? 'Cause that would make this a whole lot easier. Yes, but not in a beneficial way, I think. So, yeah, so we could theoretically have done that, but it doesn't really help. Right, and then this doesn't do anything either. Yeah, so that doesn't help. We're just still left with that sort of gap in there, which we already had. Okay, so then that's a little bit disappointing, but not unexpected. So, okay, wait. I wound up scrolling through my clipboard instead of placing the thing I was trying to place. So this... Let's see, if we just pop you up there, that gets, like, mostly good. It's a bit far away because of this stupid lake, but that's fine. So we just need this to connect up in the same way as this. So can we just... If we just copy-paste all of that, and now we have to figure out how exactly it lines up. Okay, it lines up like that, I think. So we build that in, and then we take this belt down, that belt up, and we're going to disconnect you temporarily so that we don't put random logs and such on. And now what is all this? That belt doesn't need to exist. Okay, so the fruits go out there, the seeds go up that way. I think... yeah, so that all works. And that was way easier to copy-paste than it would have been to redesign it for the 10th time. Okay, so now we need to... not clear out of all that stuff. We need to go to my deconstruction planner and clear out all the random junk within this guy's range. And that is going to be a whole lot of copper ore. Because there's a big stromatolite pile there. Now, artificial Yumiko soil does nothing. Overgrowth Yumiko soil, though, is useful. So I don't know what you're waiting on. No spots seedable by inputs is what you're waiting on. Okay, so let's change that. So this all gets filled up. And then we will see how much of this actually gets crafted. And we're also going to have to place a drone port up here. So that all goes in. And now it's got stuff to do. Yep, just doing the old click drag. Okay, so I think I've clicked and dragged everywhere there. So then we can pop a drone port just like in there, and that should be fine. We're not missing anything super important there. Still missing some walls here on Gleba, which... didn't I order one of you guys to bring walls? Oh, it's transport platform. We can drop those down real quick. And might as well stock up on belt supplies, because I always lose track of whether we need those or not, so we might as well drop them down while we have them. Okay, so now this guy is planting again, and it looks like we might have missed a couple spots, which is not at all surprising considering how many spots there are to get. Okay. Hopefully that's everything. Hopefully that's everything, and it can plant up and be good to go. So that is that. Okay, and that... wait, that was... that planted... that filled up the entire square perfectly. Why... how are you supposed to tell? Like, how are you supposed to know? Because this isn't valid, but this stuff up here is, but this stuff in here isn't. How do you know? Is it just the plants that are, like, in the way? So if we take those out, does this magically... no, it doesn't magically become tileable. I have literally no idea how that works. I thought I was starting to understand, and then I instantly stopped understanding. Alright, so that can get connected back up, and be another Yumiko fruit supply. Novice keeps getting hit, and I keep missing the attacks. But it's probably this corner down here. It's annoying that that warning went away right as I was actually going to care about it. Okay, yeah, let's not worry about that. We've got plenty of Yumiko berries going up. So now we have currently we have a bit of a backlog, which is good. And how is this going? We are actually completely out. We had we needed 3 more than we have. All right, Novice is being attacked again. Where is that attack happening? Up top. How? Where are you coming from? All the way up there? That's a long journey. Okay, yeah, I mean, that's fine. It's a super minuscule attack, so I don't care. Oh, they must have gotten... The fact that they hit here specifically means they were probably an expansion group that got sniped and then retaliated. That's probably what happened. Okay, so that's nothing to worry about. So now this is all going. We actually have some spare modules, although I think not enough to expand production out by a reasonable set. That's 16. There's going to be more up there. So yeah, we definitely need more quality modules in order to get that going. And then the other thing that we can do is legendary recyclers. So where has a whole bunch of recycling machines which could use them? So Fulgora, the speed is not the problem, right? And I guess that would make it marginally easier to like get legendary holmium. Really, we just need to get some modules down there. So let's bring transport platform back to Novice and maybe send it over to Fulgora to start upgrading the holmium plate cycling. And we're up to 24 quality modules, so this is definitely... I feel like this is definitely going much better than it was in the past. Currently we have 12 holmium plates in storage, which is higher than it has been in the past. And how many of these do we have? We have 8. Okay, let's throw those in here. So we're starting to worry about the holmium plates, so we can upgrade those. And then which of you guys is producing the most? So that's 17,000 red circuits. This one up here is 15,000. Productivity plus 145. Speed minus 75. Okay, so let's get you... Let's get you legendary quality'd up. Actually, wait, no. Better idea. You can get epic quality'd. And right, we don't have enough of those because we're not producing them anymore. But still, that would be nice. So what I want to do is just start centralizing the production in this in a small number of fast machines. So I want to start, like, instead of having this separate row for red and blue circuits, I want to move up here, get a legendary, get this one all legendaried up, and then speed module it to keep up with demand. And that will be much, much better than having it just be like this. Because right now we have all these guys in epic productivity modules, which is losing us a very small amount. Small but non-trivial amount. Okay, so those we don't want to be upgrading. Novice is set up. I don't know what that's waiting for. Probably just the epic modules. Alright, so this one is fine as is, because that's dealing with the holmium plates and a little bit of the plastic. So that is fine to be productivity moduled. Then we have all of this stuff. We want to get you upgraded. So we get you upgraded, and we do apparently have most of the productivity modules to do that. We're just missing one. So we're just going to have to wait for those to show up. Take a bit of a trip. I'm surprised they're so far away, honestly. one would expect that they'd just be up here, sitting in that box. I don't know where we brought them. We might have brought them all the way up north for some reason. Alright, so you got one. And this is importing those. Alright, you have two. So you aren't going to be doing that anymore in like just a couple seconds. So we can give you those just for the short term. But we need this guy to have all of its modules. So what is taking you so long? How is it that we had enough and then we did nothing meaningful and now we don't have enough? It's very, very confusing. Alright, so the biter eggs is all on epics. This stuff up here is all on epics and also not running. This stuff up here is mostly on legendaries. So we can yoink some of those if we need to. But right now it's the productivity modules more so than the quality modules, which are pinching us a little bit. So Gleba support is coming back. It has another 100 plastic. So that's good. And also let's go check on Gleba, because it should have delivered a whole bunch of biter eggs to here, right? Yes, biter eggs are going through. We're not actually getting jelly nuts because we don't have jelly nut seeds. That's weird. How do we not have jelly nut seeds? We've got Yumiko seeds. So why is the jelly nut seed supply broken? It's not completely broken. We have some. So this has to cycle all the way back. Oh, it has to fill up a ton of space. It has to fill up a ton of space in order to satisfy this. Wait, that's showing 700. Oh, wait, I know what's happening. So this... Occasionally seeds are getting past this, basically. And I believe if we just make you a stack inserter, that should happen. That should almost never happen, basically. So it will mean that they get delivered in here in larger chunks. They'll still all get delivered. And I guess... Okay, so this is filtered to only get regulars, so we don't have to worry about it getting confused by any uncommons or whatever going through. So that should be fine. And there we go. So this one, obviously, the Yumiko seeds has the advantage of just being sat here relatively close to where the chain goes back to. So like if this goes too far back, then it just is seeds sitting directly in front of this inserter and can grab them. And we're at the point where like a lot of... There's actually not that many of the uncommon seeds in there. I expected them to sort of build up over time, but they definitely haven't been. The Yumiko supply, meanwhile, is now certainly building up a lot. So this is going... So that's backed all the way up to here. And then the rest go down this way to do whatever it is that they do over here, which is mostly make seeds. So that's all good. So we probably shouldn't need to worry about Yumiko's supplies anymore. I think that most recent ad probably pushed us over the edge. And if not, then I guess we'll find out. It might still come in waves, so there might still be like the occasional gap. But it would have to be a pretty big wave, because the belt is very long. And the jelly nuts are still doing their thing. I think they're probably just the major limiting factor at this point. Yeah, we need to add another batch of jelly nuts, and we have 700 soil for that. Alright, so if I paste and go back in the clipboard a little bit, we have got this guy in here. So we can rotate you horizontally, I guess. And okay, wait, up there there's not space. So you need to be like in here somewhere. And we just want to leave enough space that there's no problem. And might as well get them all lined up vertically like that. Okay, so that goes in. Then we deconstruction planner and clear out any of that nonsense that's going to be in the way. Then we need to get these connected up. So it connects in to there just by belt going along like that. Pretty straightforward. And then the seeds are a little bit harder, but still nothing too crazy. We just have some space there. So then this ramps down and then comes across, goes all the way here, and then up and in. And then we just get our power pole to connect across like so. And then once all this stuff gets built, then it will be finished off. Alright, so we're just waiting for all this to get built. That's the seeds, that's the fruit. Alright. So now we just need a couple of these power poles and belts. And also for all of these construction drones to stop hogging the charging port. There's definitely some space issues there. Alright, so now that should almost. We're missing one single belt, and there it goes. So now the seeds go up to here. That is probably going to need to be limited a little bit. Alright, this doesn't have any... I haven't actually built the space yet. So apparently we can use the low quality soil for that spot in particular. And then just fill in all of this stuff. Just spam down a whole bunch of overgrowth soil. And hopefully not miss any spots. So there we go. We're definitely going to miss a whole bunch of spots probably, but that's what going back in later is for. So then all this gets covered, and we went a little bit too far down there. That's fine. There's not much wasted stuff, so we just finish this off. And I think that's everything. And we don't have any extra requests, so it should be all finished. And you are just planting, so we should be able to just pop that in and have this be done. Is this stuff not in drone range, or... Let's see, drone range does go out to there, so they're just making their way over still. So that's fine. Nothing to worry about with that. Should be all sorted out in a second once this whole charging bottleneck gets solved. The worker robot speed is very slowly but surely making its way up. In another half hour, they'll be even faster, which should be cool. Okay, at some point though, we can like also upgrade the roboports so that they recharge faster. That will be very useful to have as well. Okay, I think I might have missed some spots. Yeah, I missed a spot in there, and I think that's actually it. Alright, so that is now planting, and that should give us our jelly nut supply. And we're going to need to expand it even further eventually, because we need way more than this, but for now it's just gotta be that way. So we need to wait for more biter eggs to show up so that we can get more of the soil so that we can expand this more. So that'll be a whole process. Okay, so upgrading the agricultural towers to legendary does nothing except improve their health. So that is fine. But the roboports can be upgraded, and electric mining drills weirdly can't be. The fusion generator can be higher powered, which is cool. This can a whole bunch of things. Alright, so this is now kind of just cooking along. It looks like our massive supply of Yumiko fruits has just sort of vanished. So we might need even more to keep up properly. But now we can go back to Novice. So this is fully legendaried. So now let's make it extra fast. So that gets to be a speed beacon. We'll give you another speed beacon. And is that within power range? It is, because we have these epic power poles up here. So this one EM plant should be capable of doing all of the red circuit production that we need once these speed beacons get placed in. And that is going to mean that we are simply going to... Actually, let's not dismantle them. Let's just filter them out. So we can filter all those guys out. We don't need them to be producing things inefficiently when we have this guy to produce things super efficiently. And this will also be faster, right? So this is 1.2 per second, whereas these were 4.6 per second. So yeah, this guy is like twice as fast as all those guys, and also more resource efficient. So that is pretty neat. And that is now doing its whole thing. So this machine here it was just running, right? And again, for similar reasons, I think we want you... No, wait, that's the output. Yeah, we want your inputs to be deactivated so that you stop draining things, and we just put the red circuits in. We just get red circuits, green circuits, and blue circuits directly into modules down here, and this whole area doesn't really need to exist. So we still need the plastic and the copper plates here for this, which is fine. Alright, so that is that. And is Gleba support delivering any plastic? No, it isn't. We have 60 there. So these have done a couple hundred in total. That's fine. Okay, so if we go back to Novice here, am I right in saying we have two of those? We have 43. We have 43 legendary modules on the transport platform. And I mean, we've got to do something with those. We take them to Vulcanus, they'll all just sort of get absorbed by the massive copper and iron stuff. If we take them to Gleba, they'll just get... We don't have enough fruit stuff to do anything with them. So let's take you to Fulgora, actually. And I think... I hope this station is actually safely able to make it to Fulgora. I forget. It's mediums and chunks, whereas these one... Okay, yeah, so it's the same. It's the same. So we don't have to worry about this getting blown up and losing 43 legendary quality modules. That would be terrible. So off you go. And once you make it there, then we will be able to start getting this holmium plate stuff going more efficiently. So we can, like, increase the productivity modules there and get quality modules into these guys, and then that will be real cool. So in the meantime, this is still just cycling. It's still going about the same speed as it was last time. No miraculous new problems have shown up. The scrap supply, I think we've technically made a dent in it, but nothing significant. And this still has plenty. It still has plenty of those. And we just got a delivery, actually, so that is cool. So now this gets to run and produce all the red circuits. And is there some good reason to make legendary speed modules? Not hugely. So legendary, what are they called? Legendary big mining drills they drain less, right? Oh, and speaking of draining less, we've somehow managed to drain that entire patch. Oh, right, no, I remember that. That happened ages ago. Never mind. So, yeah, so this decreases the resource drain, which could be quite useful for, like, the coal back on Novice, which we're constantly draining entire patches of. And this, so the big mining drill to make is red circuits, electric engine units, tungsten carbide, electric mining drills, molten iron. Alright, so let's take that one by one. Red circuits are like the main bottleneck right now, but we are producing them. Electric engine units, electronic circuits, engine units, and lubricant. So these are easy, right? So this is just iron and copper and a trivial bit of lubricant, so that's no problem. Tungsten carbide, we would need to set up a quality loop for here on Vulcanus, but wouldn't be too bad. We already technically have it mostly set up, it's just not quite fully correct yet. Then electric mining drills are also just iron and copper, and then molten iron is a liquid. So yeah, basically, if we have ever enough advanced circuits to go around, and we can ever bother to get around to doing this tungsten carbide thing, then, so yeah, we have this. It's not functional because there's not enough recyclers. But if we ever get it to be functional, then we will have that set up, and we'll be able to make big mining drills, and foundries are harder because they require refined concrete. Refined concrete takes a whole bunch of stuff, which is easy, and then regular concrete, which I think regular concrete we would be making on Fulgora just by looping some of this stuff directly out of this, which would not be too bad at all. Alright, so that is fine. Has transport platform made it yet? Not quite. It's almost there. It's almost there. So Novice, how are you doing? You are up to 3 of those, and none of those. Very cool. And this is just going. There's nothing aside from the inherent productivity bonus that can be done to help these guys out, so they're just doing what they're doing. And these ones are getting as well as they can. Alright, so that is doing everything that we needed to. Technically we can make a quick burst of them by just putting that guy in so that we can grab those legendary plastics, which would otherwise just be sitting on this belt. So that's a little tiny little thing that we can do. Why? Oh, I didn't set these up. I didn't set you up to just stay at Fulgora once you got there, so we're gonna have to do that and then send you back the last couple hundred meters. Alright, so you are back on Fulgora now. Just about. So we just need you to get a little bit further, and now you're here. So we drop down quality modules, productivity modules, and let's give you 100 of each type of drone, just in case that was a thing. I don't know. You never know. It could be a problem. We're actually like doubling the amount of drones available, so that's a good decision. Okay, so those are landing, and here they are, and then the drones land as well. Are the drones going to get automatically picked up, or are we going to have to set that up? We're going to have to set that up. Alright. That's fine. We'll do that later. For now, let's go. These first 5 probably can get those. And do these guys make any? Yeah, somehow these guys have made thousands of cycles. But it definitely drops off exponentially, so let's just get those in. We have all these quality modules here, might as well use them. And that should be everything that we need for that. Then we can legendary quality that foundry, so it'll go from 126 productivity to 150 productivity. That's like an extra 3 holmium plates per second at max. And more importantly, more resource efficient. So that should be all the productivity modules we have, right? All the good ones anyways. We have a couple epics left over now. So these are all epicked up. So that's fine. And these are just outputting as much as they can. Alright, so can we increase this production as well? So these guys are actually, we're actually using a decent chunk of these, which is cool. It does mean that it's going to be a bit harder to upgrade them to legendary productivity, which is what we care about here, because it means we'll need more modules, or I guess legendary chemical plants. And actually, speaking of chemical plants, can cryogenic plants make holmium solution? I guess let's place down a ghost and see. Okay, no. You cannot make holmium solution in a cryogenic plant. Only regular old chemical plants. That's a shame. We could have gotten really free, easy achievements and upgrades from that. But it is what it is. So this is still always fluid ingredient short. These guys are item, this one is item ingredient short and has hardly finished any, whereas these first ones do the bulk of the work. Okay, so that's all fine. If we want to get more legendary holmium plates, we're just going to need to completely restructure Fulgora, which I don't really want to do at this exact moment. And then are there any easy low-hanging fruits on Aquilo? What do cryogenic plants do? Just crafting speed? Nothing fancy for any of those. Okay, what about beacons? What does it take to get legendary beacons? Advanced circuits. A whole bunch of free stuff and advanced circuits, basically. Everything takes advanced circuits. Legendary EM plants, I assume, yeah, those need processing units. We can't do anything with that. Not that we super need to at the moment anyways. But you never know. Did we ever make legendary power poles? Dude, I feel like at some point we made a box of those. Oh, we do have, actually. We have 40 legendary beacons. So if we can find somewhere useful to pop those, I guess we can make some production even more insanely fast. I don't even know, like, fast production with speed beacons isn't really, like, the issue at this point, though. So the current problem is like, resource inputs and quality module numbers. And when you're doing quality modules, you don't want to use speed beacons because that just wrecks your efficiency. So, we can produce things super fast if we need to. I'm just not sure when we would ever need to. So I think the problem with the Yumiko, it probably isn't like a real supply shortage. It's probably more so that the excess getting sent over here means that it doesn't like back up all the way. So let's see, this here is the main belt we're looking at here. So that gets fed in from here, which is like all of these guys, and it also gets fed in from here, which is that one. The only one which bypasses it is this one, which just sort of does its own thing. Oh, and I guess this one, which is also feeding into the old factory. Okay, so I wonder if we just want, like, a box here. So that this can back up more and can back up enough to do everything properly. So this is providing like a whole bunch of extra nutrients, and we have nothing to do with all those extra nutrients. So what does one do with an insane amount of nutrients? I guess we can make other legendary stuff with them. Like, I guess we can make legendary nutrients. I don't know what that does for us. I can't imagine that does anything especially interesting for us. Like, okay, let's just pop down one of you and see. So we can make legendary raw fish. Or no, that's that. Fish breeding is a novice thing. Let's see, where do nutrients go into? Or if we had a whole bunch of them. No idea. Oh, pentapod eggs. So if we had a bunch of legendary nutrients, we could manufacture legendary pentapod eggs and then eventually legendary biochambers, which would be a big improvement because that would cut down the number of biochambers we need, which would cut down the number of modules we need. I do think we're kind of almost at the point where we have modules to go around. Like, we just delivered like 40 up to Fulgora, right? Okay, so there's a whole bunch of extra plastic in there, but that's just because we're not using any of it here anymore. Okay, let's set this. We don't want all that plastic to go to waste. We need some here for the EM plant. So I'm going to set that down to 5 and trash unrequested so that this can all go up here and make a whole bunch of circuits. And unfortunately, a lot of it got past the first hyper-efficient one, which is quite a waste, but not the end of the world. We have 8 of those. And that is still low. Okay, transport platform is currently sitting over Fulgora. It definitely does not need to be there. So you can come back to Novice. You come back to Novice. And then we have legendary recyclers on Novice now, right? So we can get this to go faster earlier. That doesn't really do much. These ones here are already set up and ready to go. So, where else do we have lots of recyclers? So these ones don't even have legendary modules in them yet, so that will be nice to have in the future. And we might even, yeah, we might as well just pop down like those first 3 to be legendary, just also because we are kind of getting close to the end of the line there. We don't want to actually run out of space in our recycler line, because that would not be good at all. So having these guys go faster, let's see. So currently it's 0.64. Once they get the modules, I think it's going to be like 1.5 each, maybe? 1.6 each. Not too shabby at all. And then once we have enough legendary quality modules that we want to throw them in on biter eggs, because that's like a limiting factor, which it actually seems like it is at this point. Okay, so if that's a limiting factor, then we can throw those modules into those first 3, and there we go. So now these guys are just extra cool, and they'll do most of the work, and they'll be faster about it. So that should increase our amount of legendary biter eggs by a whole lot more than it probably looks like it should. So that is in, and that's good. The coal can use more legendary modules, but that's then just getting back to that being the limiting factor and not the recycler speed. Really, I just want to find like every recycler that has legendary modules in it and upgrade it to be extra fast. So these ones are all epics, and that's fine. We've got like 3 to spare there. So then that's all just going to be production stuff. Okay, so really I think it's got to be over to Gleba then for the legendary recyclers. So we can make some upgrades with that over here. And this is still just doing its thing. Currently don't have any bioflux stored up. And how much? Somewhere in here we had a box with all of our legendary spoilage. And we've got 1.2k of that. Alright. What does spoilage do? I know there's some stuff. So we can burn it to make legendary carbon, which is an option. Not a great option, though. We can make legendary nutrients. We can do... We can't do that. That's not useful. We can make a little bit of... We can make a little bit of legendary sulfur with it. Bioflux, biolubricant, rocket fuel, none of this stuff. Yeah, so none of this stuff is really going to be the trick. And then that doesn't even need spoilage. So I guess probably legendary carbon. So we have like 1.2k legendary spoilage. So that would convert down to 200 legendary carbon. And okay, so Vulcanus is the home of the carbon to coal, and that is a pretty terrible ratio. So we're not even going to get that much legendary coal out of it. Yeah, that's... There's got to be something we can do with it. There's got to be something we can do with it. I don't know what. Maybe it is just legendary nutrients, and then eventually we can use those to make pentapod eggs. But we need legendary landfill to make biochambers, so that's going to be a bit in the future. So for now, we just keep storing that, and it'll figure itself out eventually. So this is our nutrient supply, right? And get rid of that random bush that's making it hard to click on this. Okay, so this... I said it's our nutrient supply, but it's actually been filled up because I didn't tick the trash unrequested box. So now it's our nutrient supply. And you... Okay, so now that that is going... These guys all had a whole bunch of spoilage to output, which we need to get rid of. Do we have enough drones to do this? Probably. We got worker robot speed, that's fun. Let's go rocket part productivity. I don't know, why not? Might as well. So then this is where all the spoilage is going. And that is pulling pretty heavily from this bioflux area here. So that's now back under control. But now... Okay, so wait, that is the requester chest. Okay, so these should be able... Yeah, so these need a place to output the spoilage that's more consistent than this. Because this guy is just, like, straight up getting completely stun-locked. And this guy is probably there too. So now this is the only one which is actively working. Okay, so how do we deal with that? Let's get a belt. Okay, so those power poles can be moved. We can take those power poles out and build them in later. Then we get a belt which runs along that way. And so that is filtered out nutrients only. So this can be filtered out spoilage only. Except they then need to be that, and that, and that. And did that not get done? It did not. Filtered spoilage only. So those three. So they now have a dedicated place to put spoilage. And now we just have to get power poles in, which is weirdly not easy. We can like go make that an underground belt there without breaking anything, and that should fulfill everything that we need it to. Okay, so now we have this belt here, which is spoilage only, and that can just go into a passive provider chest. And we're going to need a power pole out there, probably. So now, all that random nutrients that got on that belt first is out. And then, all the spoilage can get taken out as well. So that will take quite a while to completely fill. But it should clear them out one at a time. Or maybe 1.5-ish at a time. So yeah, now this one can manage to start draining. Alright, so our nutrient supply is back up and running. And it should be good to go basically forever now. Once this gets ahead of the curve a little bit. Yeah, so now these are all able to run and output their spoilage when they need to. And then this probably doesn't even need to exist. Although it actually does, because now they're not directly outputting themselves to here, so we need the drones to occasionally take the spoilage, or take the nutrients from these passive provider chests into that requester chest. Alright, so that's all good. Everything there is back under control. And the Yumiko fruits are backlogged all the way up to the junction again. And the jelly nuts are backlogged way past the junction. So we do kind of need to worry about actively using all of our jelly nuts. So normally that would be the job of this row over here, which isn't going very fast for some reason, because it's got absolute last dibs on nutrients. Oh, and this needs to be trash unrequested. Right, we just need to have that for like everywhere that's an issue. So that then jump starts this, which can then start outputting nutrients. And hopefully that will prevent the jelly nuts from absolutely spoiling, which would be a bit of a waste, especially considering I think last time we checked we didn't have that many spare jelly nut seeds. We obviously have more than enough of everything else. We have biter eggs passing through, and those numbers are starting to look better again. At some point, I need to just design like a better scalable way of farming, because currently it's very sort of haphazard, which is not good when we need it to be providing all of the supplies for like 10 trillion Yumiko fruits worth of biochambers. But it's fine. It's going okay, at least. Could be a lot worse. Leave a support, bringing back another 100-some plastic. Love to see it. Alright, so transport platform, you are currently just sitting over Novice. There's not much of anything for you to pick up. That's fine. So, Novice, what do you have going on? You are still doing all this stuff. We're up to 21 excess holmium plates, which is cool. And this is just crawling in terms of like the expansion. We need more of so many different things that it's very difficult to like keep them all in my mind at once. Like now we're still a little bit sketchy on the Yumiko fruit side of things. So we need to do that. And we're only a little bit sketchy. We're not like actually using them all, which means we need more rows of this. Okay, let's do that. That'll actually help us use them more efficiently. So we go blueprint. It's not V2, right? We ended up having a V3. We ended up having a V3, I think, somewhere in here. Yes. Okay, so we pop that down. I can't remember what the difference is, but it's probably better. So now we go back to Gleba. Blueprint, Yumiko plus Jelly V3. And we can plop that in. And that is all going to get built. Oh, I put the Roboport in, and there's some other stuff too, but I can't remember it. And now all the construction bots are doing their thing. All 491 of them are currently occupied building this gigantic thing. And that is going to take them quite a bit of time. It is starting to get to the point where, like, the drones have to travel far enough that it's becoming an issue. Like they're having to go up here and they're needing to all huddle around roboports and stuff, and it's kind of awkward. What did legendary roboports take, actually? It might not require plastic. No, it does. It requires advanced circuits, which means it's bottlenecked behind the same thing that absolutely everything else on the planet is bottlenecked behind. Alright, so Gleba is getting through. It's not reporting any missing quality modules for this set, although it might do that soon. It might just need to get the drone ports to consider all those guys up there valid. Alright, it's going down. Alright, everything has now been queued. We're 3 productivity modules short. Although these recyclers and stuff have to get built before that can be completely identified. Alright, that one electrical pole, which was sort of the linchpin of everything, is now in, so now all this stuff is powered. And yeah, now we're starting to show quality module shortages for this. And we are filtering out that first batch of random spoilage and getting actual jelly nuts and Yumiko fruits in. Okay, a random drone got destroyed on Novice. Not a concern of mine. As long as we don't lose like 10,000 of them, I don't really care. Okay, so we're now 13 quality modules short. Do you have any? Does Transport Platform have any? No, there's a couple on the planet, but not that many. And the shortages are continuing to increase as we build the machines which need them. But it is almost at least constructed, so it's not going to do what we want it to do without all the quality modules, but it's constructed and it'll do something probably. So the Yumiko are looping, and it looks like the construction is largely done except for the quality modules that we're missing. So that's all good. If only we had those 40-some quality modules that we sent over to Fulgora. That would be nice. But it is what it is. And hey, look at that. We already got a couple legendary jelly nuts out of that. So on this, the jelly nut side got built first so that it has more modules than the Yumiko side. And okay, so the nutrients are just now starting to get through, it looks like. So that's all good. There are no more giant flashing warning lights on the nutrient side of things. So all these are producing. And we just need to figure out what's taking this so long. We need 37 quality modules to get there. So I guess part of it is that we have... Previously the quality modules were prioritized because they had direct plastic and red circuits in, so we prioritized them over the productivity modules, and now it's kind of neutral as to which we prioritize. Although we're not seeing many things up here either. Yeah, we're not seeing that many of those. That's fine. So, can this get upgraded? Not super beneficially. We're using all of this space, and that's just going fine. What even is this? Oh, this is just a random junk destroyer, I think. And we also have 12 medium electrical poles for some reason. Okay. Where was that attack? Why did it happen in like 2 seconds? Like 8 walls got damaged and then they're all gone and fixed. I don't know what happened with that. Okay, so this coal patch is absolutely collapsing at this point. So the coal patch is collapsing, which means we need to add another one on. And God, it would be nice It'd be really, really nice if we could just have our higher quality big mining drills. But we are absolutely not getting red circuits anytime soon, so that's not really practical. Does food core support have any of those actually just lying about? It's got a whole bunch of blue circuits, but no red circuits. Okay, nothing to see there. So that's all just doing normal stuff. And this is now cycling about, and hopefully this should prevent us from wasting as many fruits, because we just have more production up here. And then at some point we're going to have to, I think the next one we add, we're going to have to figure out how to get a second side onto this so that we have production lines over here as well. How many of these produced? 500-ish total. Whereas this line back here has done like 4,000. But this is also way more annoying to keep operating, as we've seen with the coal patches just disappearing one after the other. Okay, and we could still add more legendary productivity modules into this. I don't think we have them to spare though. Yeah, I don't actually know where they're all going. It seems like it's been a while since I've seen any at all. Did they get launched up on a transport platform? No, they did not. Yeah, I have no idea where these are being brought to, if they're being brought to anywhere, which they might not be. There's no demand for those on Novice. And they are mostly short on biter eggs. They even have a batch of 200 advanced circuits. So do we even want, if we increase the biter egg legendary production, then that will technically also increase the amount of legendary circuits that we use. Okay, here's what we can do. This is a smart. That does not need to be a batch of 200. That can be 5. And then just take the excess down somewhere where they can actually be used. Down here. So that should give us a whole giant mass of quality modules, hopefully. Let's see, it probably won't single-handedly be enough to get this going, but it'll be pretty good. So that goes all the way down to there. And we did get a good wave of actual production there as well. So that can go do its thing. This has productivity modules, 18 quality modules. Now there's 20 some on the way. So that most recent cycle was very productive. And that will deal with a lot of the Gleba demand. Yeah, I mean, just the power of being able to have a fully saturated belt on here is like single-handedly making the difference over all the extra work we're doing over at Gleba to make it work. So we just need these boxes to fill up. Where are they? These ones here. You are not filling up fast enough at all. Now, how is our... Where was that biter egg harvesting thing over here going? So this is filling up a rocket to launch right now. So that is good. And it's been a while, so whatever the quality of those should be reflective of like the average quality that we launch. And the fact that we have almost entirely fresh ones just left over means that we should be fine. Have these lasers done any damage? Yes, they have, but not that much. Okay, so Gleba support is receiving its 1,000 biters. Those drop down, and right, it's only 500 because that's the limit of that. And then there's another 500 on the way, and you will be waiting for that rocket to arrive. Okay, let's set this to 60 seconds of inactivity instead of just 60 seconds total. Because you're not getting loaded up on things that I want you to be getting loaded up on. So we do that. And then let's also do time passed of like 300. And then, oh wait, no, that wound up being 30, not 300. Okay, so it is still fine. We got a good solid amount of biter eggs going in, and then over on Gleba, I noticed that a lot of them were getting past here still. So I think if we set that stack size all the way down to 1, that should hopefully convert into as many of these as possible. You only have 6 jelly nut eggs in storage. Why is there always so few? So that isn't happening. That isn't doing anything. This is waiting, and there's 500 some jelly nut seeds. I think there were like 700 last I checked, so I guess we've done some work on depleting that, but it's still a whole lot of extras. We have a full 400 Yumiko seeds. I don't understand what the holdup is. Okay, so back over to Novice. Let's look at these. Are these still producing with all these red circuits? Yeah, but they're just about at the tail end of it. I think transport platform can head up now. So you can go to Gleba and bring those modules. So then Gleba support has all the biter eggs, and some of them have like 15 minutes left. But for the most part, they're pretty good. And we did end up getting this way more under control, it looks like. We've actually got space on the belts for most of it, which is pretty cool. Is this input priority right? Surely this is supposed to be input priority left. Unless I'm intentionally doing it this way to ensure that we get a steady supply of fresh asteroids so we get a good average mix of the 3. Yeah, that's probably intentional. And it's been working this whole time, so why would I bother changing it? Alright, red circuits are still doing their thing. Will they ever make any progress? Unclear. We've got all these legendary beacons. We need to figure out something to do with them. Yeah, because I thought legendary beacons would be like one of the main appeals, but we're not using them much at all. Okay, let's see here. The big mining drills are something that I really want, because it's going to be such a huge difference, right? So let's start working on that. So, but we need to free up some quality modules from here in order to make that work. How are we going to free up 190 some legendary quality modules on Vulcanus? That seems impossible. So I guess, so what we can do is we can go over here to Novice and use all those. Oh, what's this? We just lost a laser turret. It's up in this area. Yikes, that is the power production. Okay, so first off, double wall all of that all the way out to the sea. Second of all, put in a couple more laser turrets. And that should be fine once that's all in. Put some more laser turrets over here, since that's the place which was immediately getting attacked just now. Okay, so then you've got this artillery cannon out forwards. So we need to just keep on expanding that at some point. Rinjinji, hello. We are pretty much still just cooking along on this whole legendary plastic thing. We're at the point where we need more fruit input, and we need more modules, so it's kind of slow going at this point. So the fruit input is weird, like it builds these massive buffers and then they disappear. I wish they would just flow through at a steady rate instead of whatever this is. Like these massive bursts, and then they stop doing anything for a while they're all like, that's the problem, is that these are all somehow like on very similar cycles in terms of when they're growing and when they're harvesting. I wonder if there's some way of like intentionally controlling that, just so that they're offset a little bit. Who knows? So the jelly nuts, on the other hand, we just have too many jelly nuts. Like, what are we going to do with all these jelly nuts? They back all the way up to here, and they're probably going to start spoiling on the belts. And they haven't yet, because obviously they take forever to spoil. But they're going to any second now, and that's going to be annoying. So this will account for that, but it is just kind of wasteful. Like, they're not going to get jammed, because we have spoilage outlets on all these belts. So it's not going to get jammed, but it will be annoying and wasteful. What's your approach to quality plastic? I am doing it here on Gleba with all this stuff. So bioplastic, just get bioflux, Yumiko mash, boom, plastic. It's not going super fast so far. I'm kind of starting to think maybe this was not the right way of going about it. Like, I'm pretty sure my temporary plastic setup that I built while I was waiting to get this set up has produced like 10 times as many legendary plastics as this has, which is a bit of an issue, but we just need to expand it more. We need all of these fruits to go through better, and then hopefully it'll get there eventually. Alright, so the jelly nuts are backing up a whole bunch. The Yumiko fruits aren't. We need more Yumiko fruits. Do we have enough of these yet? Probably. That's probably enough to build another one. So we copy you, and then we just pop this down somewhere in the general vicinity. How about like there? Although that's going to be right in front of the rockets. Can it do stuff over here? Yes, but it doesn't really work very well. Alright, can we just like tell here if we grab this? It looks like all of this is terraformable. I still don't know if there's any way of telling the difference between stuff that can be overgrowth soiled and stuff that can't be overgrowth soiled. Do we flip you horizontally and just combine these two up that way? That makes sense. Should be able to do that without issues. Yeah, making quality mash jelly. Yeah, so we're going to need to think about how to do that then. And I think we can, like, what's it called? If we make the bioflux first, then we get to use the biochamber's productivity bonus in the loop. And that's probably very helpful. So we're going to have to... it's so annoying to go through all the work of building that big, complicated design and then realize that, like, it just fundamentally doesn't work and you need to tear it apart. but I think that's where we're at this point. Alright, so let's get you go underground a little bit so that the seeds can filter out. And then those go up to there. So that's connected across, and then that just connects across. Then we have to get those guys off the belt, and we have to get those guys off the belt. And now you're all set up. So now we can connect that down. And you have seeds. So now it is time for the Yumiko soil. So the artificial Yumiko soil we can't use here, because why would you ever be able to use it? And now we just start popping all this stuff in. Some of this area can't be done for no apparent reason. So we just fill all this stuff in, and then that'll be even more Yumiko fruits. And there we go. And we just keep clicking and dragging. There's gotta be some way of like making a blueprint with this included in it. I refuse to believe that there's no better way of expanding than doing this. Alright, but anyways, that is that. Even more Yumiko fruits. Yeah. Okay, so now we start looking at this redesign. Recycle, grind the raw fruit, and use it as a way to keep the fruit flowing after it gets past all the other stuff. Yeah, maybe. So the difficulty with that is that it's not so easy to determine, like, when the fruit has got past all the other stuff. And also, like, with the Yumiko fruit in particular, this doesn't happen with the jelly nuts anymore because they're just backed up to an insane amount. But the Yumiko fruits will, like, hit points where there's a huge amount of them backing up on the belt. And then they'll also hit points like this where there's just not enough of them. And so I don't want to destroy them while they're plentiful and then not have them while they're not plentiful, you know? So that's a bit of a trick there. Well, yeah, but the thing is then when the massive wave of Yumiko fruits happens, it'll just get all the way past everything, fill it up temporarily, then it'll all get destroyed, and then there won't be any left for when there is the massive wave of Yumiko fruit coming through. So yeah, I really wish I could do that, but I don't think it's practical, at least, unless I find some way of evening out the Yumiko fruit input, which should theoretically happen automatically over time as I just add more of these guys in. It should just naturally balance out, but it hasn't happened quite enough yet. The agricultural towers can be clocked to even out flow. I guess. What are these guys? What options do these guys have? I've never looked at them. It's just enable, disable, and read contents. Okay. No fancy stuff in there. So yeah, I could do more work on that. I think for now, though, I need to start working on the bioflux recycling design. So let's find some empty space and start building that up. So hopefully this space will be empty enough. Okay, so we get a biochamber. So the biochamber is going to be making bioflux. That's easy enough. So then we need to... Okay, now this is where this gets complicated when you're not just cycling things into itself, because now we have to do the whole which quality are we using situation. Which, we did that over on Vulcanus, right? With all this stuff. Yeah, okay, and it was relatively simple, and we just had this set up. Control or shift can change the brush size for landfill placement. I did not know that. That would be convenient. Let's see here. So overgrowth Yumiko soil. Maybe plus roll. No, it doesn't seem to be. Does not seem to be. Who knows? All right. So for this, what we need is a recycler. Okay, how did I do this on Vulcanus? We had the input. This would be the bioflux input. Plus or minus keys. That's also something which could possibly be it. I definitely don't hit those keys often. Okay, plus, shift plus, control plus. No, it's not those. Wait, maybe it's these plus or minus? Oh, okay, it's plus or minus on the numpad, does it? Got it, okay. That is good to know. We figured it out. We figured it out eventually. Okay, so where is this? So we have our recycler, which feeds into... So we have our original bioflux construction here, which feeds into the recycler. So that would be... So this feeds into the recycler directly. And this would be bioflux, obviously. And that's just raw bioflux. Then this recycles the bioflux. And so for this one, we're going to have to deal with the fact that we have different quantities of the various inputs, which we didn't have to deal with on Vulcanus because it was just copper wire back and forth. But, so the recycler puts it out into a box, which then puts most of the things up into there and the rest of them down into there. So, you go into a box, and then we have that, which is where we do the legendary processing stuff. Then we have the other one, which goes down this way, and that will provide... So out of this machine, we'll occasionally get legendary Yumiko Mash and Jelly, which is fine, I guess, because we do need the legendary Yumiko Mash. Crafting and recycling capture bot rockets. Okay, wait, capture bot rockets. What are those? Processing units, flying robot frames, and steel plates. That is not cheap. Yeah, so that seems... I mean, I like getting all those in legendary qualities. But bioflux doesn't decraft when recycled. Oh, so you don't get the jelly and the mash out, you just get... Okay. Okay, that's... I wish there was just a way of checking, like, you know, clicking in the recycler, like, what'll it give me if I recycle this particular thing. Okay, so you have to craft something that uses bioflux to get it then, like... Oh boy. That just makes it more complicated. Alt-click an item. Alt-click. Recycle. Recycling recipes. There we go. I did not know that that was in this. Okay, so that just does that, which we don't want. So, our alternatives are iron bacteria cultivation. That doesn't seem useful. And... Okay, wait, but this doesn't... So CaptureBot recycling gives us bioflux among all the other things. This recycling gives us only agricultural science packs. Sulfur is... So sulfur is obviously just going to give us sulfur back. And so is it really just the capture bot rockets as the option? So in order to do this, we would need to add in flying robot frames, processing units, and steel plates. Which isn't like the worst thing in the world. It doesn't take that many of any of them. We finished a random research. Let's put in another random research. Rocket fuel productivity. I don't know. Why not? Okay, where were we? I'll click there. So I guess it's really efficient. Like, we only need 1 or 2 of each, and we might get them back. But we need them of all the various quality tiers in order to get them up to legendary. But I guess that'll just happen naturally. Okay. So we're just going to have to do this then. It's going to be annoying, but we can manage. Alright, so we have... This is just in an assembly machine, and it can be done on Novice, technically. Do we want to do it on Novice? That would be importing a whole lot of bioflux just to destroy it. Yeah, we're not going to do it on Novice. That would be silly. Okay, so we need steel plates, processing units, flying robot frames, and a whole lot of bioflux. Okay. So I guess we don't need huge numbers of these, but we do need non-trivial numbers of them. And that is going to massively increase the complexity of all of this. Yeah, the efficiency is better. It's just going to be super annoying to set up properly, because we have all these other things that we need to input. So, and that is the only practical option, right? These guys aren't going to recycle down to that. Okay. I think it's probably... I'm going to have to figure out whether it's worth it or not. So we need steel plates, processing units, flying robot frames, and bioflux. So the processing units are going to be annoying. The flying robot frames are going to be really annoying. Yeah, this is just a lot of work. Like, that's a lot of steps just to get legendary plastic, you know? Like, half of these things involve plastic in them anyways. So surely there's some way of doing this. We might just have to... It'd be a shame to abandon this Gleba setup completely. Recycling the capture bots returns 100% bioflux. Yeah, that is nice. Yeah, so like we're trying to get like our ultimate goal is basically to get legendary plastic so we can print out a whole bunch of red and blue circuits and then just have all of like the basic stuff legendary, especially quality modules. So there's just gotta be, let's see, maybe there's just some other option that I'm overlooking for plastic. No, it's just the base and bioplastic. So I have to either take up all of the coal in the universe to make it here, or all of the Yumiko mash in the universe to make it on Gleba. There's no other reasonable options, unless... Let's see, maybe we can, like, go to Fulgora or something and get it that way. Like, if we go to Fulgora and just get a whole bunch of advanced circuits, because there's an infinite number of them there, or a huge number, then that gives us these. So we could do that, but Fulgora is annoying. So this is our setup currently, and it's terrible. And apparently we're out of scrap. How did that happen? Alright. Randomly get distracted by another thing. What's going on with the scrap here? So that should have enough scrap to fill up a train. Okay, so it's just a temporary delay while the train is refilling. I guess that's fine. Wait, how is it back already? The train just left. Asteroid reprocessing is amazing for plastic. Yeah, that is also a thing. I think Fulgora might be good though. Like we have, 20 trillion red circuits here. You can crunch these down, no problem. And we can also do blue circuits while we're at it. So yeah, what else is there? There's also low density structures. So low density recycling also gives us plastic, and so yeah, I guess we can just work more on Fulgora. Yeah, so that's the thing, is like I was looking up, ways of doing quality on the internet to make sure I wasn't completely wrong, and basically everything I saw was like people complaining about how space quality was so overpowered that it like invalidated all the other things. So I was like, I don't know if I want to do that. I'm going to try to figure it out a more normal way. And I think, let's see, how many red circuits does this make? This makes like 0.4 red circuits per second. So that is pretty doable. Upcycling blue chips, yeah. So that's what I was thinking. Like we have all this stuff on Fulgora that we can do. So the blue chips would require us to throw sulfuric acid in, but they would give us obviously productivity bonuses along the way. The advanced circuits don't require us to throw in sulfuric acid, and we can just do it like this. It's 0 to 1 plastic bar, 0 to 1 electronic circuits, and a guaranteed copper cable. Do you have a setup for grinding productivity into qualities? So I have basically the way I've been doing this is I produce the raw resources and then turn them in. So I have this setup where I have the various types of circuits, and the biter eggs are a bit slow, but they're going, and then we just get them that way. And I'm doing the quality modules in the same way, just producing them from not quite scratch, but like almost scratch. So I've got productivity and quality modules available. Okay, so back over to Fulgora. So what we need to do is we need to massively increase the speed of our scrap harvesting thing, because this is not going to be good enough if we want to use it for that. But like 0.42 red circuits per second is pretty good for like almost no work. And where is the scrap again? EM plans with full legendary productivity 3 modules and blue chip research to level 13 as you hit the productivity cap. Alright. That's good to know. Yeah, getting lots of blue circuits would be nice. Alright, I think though... So yeah, blue circuits give us... Where was it? You didn't get plastic directly from blue circuits, right? So you just get advanced circuits, which you'd then have to cycle down again, although obviously the reason we need the plastic is mostly for red and blue circuits anyways, so that's not even really a big deal. Okay, let's see what this looks like. So, processing units. We need a whole bunch of sulfuric acid, and then we need red and green circuits. So the sulfuric acid, how do we get that on Fulgora? I know we've got all this heavy oil up there. I do not remember what you can get from heavy oil and what you can't. Okay, you break even on recycling at that point, and you don't lose any ingredients other than acid. That would be very handy. Okay, so let's get some machines down so I can remember how we do the heavy oil thing. So we have heavy oil. Okay, it's not going to be this, right? Probably. Because that's coal liquefaction, which we don't want. So heavy oil. So sulfuric acid is iron plates, sulfur, water. We get petroleum gas from heavy oil, and then, yeah, so that's straightforward, except for the water is a little bit annoying, but not really. Just like a marginal nuisance, really. Okay, so we need to get... So what do we need? We need... Step 1 is to produce sulfuric acid. So we're going to be doing this in a blueprint because we need this to be scalable to some extent. So we have ice melting to get the water. Then we have that, and you flip horizontally, and then you provide the petroleum from, I guess, light oil cracking, and then you provide the light oil from heavy oil cracking. And then we need to get water into all of those. So I guess that would be like back there. And alright, is this at all a practical way of doing things? So that gives us like 20 water. This cascade needs like 60 water. Yeah, we're gonna need a lot of water for this. But that's fine, because we just have the ice cubes, right? So those are going to be coming out of the recycling machines anyways when we're doing this, so it shouldn't be a major issue. Apparently we don't have chemical plants on Fulgora, so let's see, who is supposed to be bringing those in? Fulgora support. Can you grab like 20-ish chemical plants? Oh, cryogenic plants. I always forget that those are a thing that exist. Yes, I have cryogenic plants. Who has those that goes past Fulgora? Okay, you don't do anything. You go to Aquilo and Fulgora already, so we can just... Actually, are you carrying cryogenic plants? You're carrying like 1 already. You're supposed to be carrying 4, you're only carrying 1. Alright, that's concerning. I think I never, like, actually fully automated those. Let's check Aquilo. What's going on here? Right, I never got the... What's it called? I never got the refined concrete in. I can do that easily, I think. So you have refined concrete requested. So then I just need to go down to here and have you request it. Oh, and then we do that from here. Oh wait, you already have that? So there is refined concrete here. And did I just not put it in this? I just didn't put it in this. Alright, cool. So we do that, and then we officially have cryogenic plants automated. Very cool. So that's going. And then Fulgora will be requesting those, probably. Where's that? You can request just not 20. That's so many. Just request like 5 for now. That'll be a start. Okay, cryogenic plants. So we have the one that makes sulfur, and we have are all the recipes available in here that we need? Okay, I don't see any heavy oil cracking, so can't do that. That's fine. Okay, so the sulfur gets made in there, and then we just have the petroleum stuff in those two. And there we go. What else is in here? What recipes are in here? Batteries and... yeah, okay. And then mostly just the Aquilo stuff with some random things which are here for some reason. There's no way of getting, like, trillions of steam here on Fulgora, right? Yeah, there isn't. Pretty sure we had to melt ice cubes for that anyways. I have not worked on Fulgora in a long time, seriously. So, a bit rusty on what is and isn't available. Okay, was ice cube melting here? No, no ice cube melting. So that's going to be taking place in this chemical plant. I don't know why I'm trying to make this compact before I have any idea what we're even doing. So this is the light oil cracking. Yeah, steam condensation is for Vulcanus. That's pretty much it. I could have sworn I'd used it on a space platform at some point. Or maybe I did it in the other way around, I can't remember. Alright, so we do that. And then you are the ice melting. So that just sort of goes down like that. And now we have got all this. Did I also request chemical plants here? I know I requested cryogenic plants. Let's see, I did not. Chemical plants, just give us like 10 of those. And I think Fulgora support is requesting them. Yes, that's all good. Okay, so this gives us water and heavy oil down into sulfur. Now, can we make sulfuric acid here? We can. Alright, so then we need sulfuric acid, which is going to take from that and go into here. And that also needs water, because of course it does. Why would it ever not need water? So that would go down to there somewhere. Sulfuric acid. So you take water, you would take that, and that would give us our sulfuric acid. And that gives us 100 sulfuric acid. And let's see, we're gonna have to use so much water for this. So this is gonna have to be moduled and stuff, and we might have to add another one. Yeah. Alright, so then we have that, and then we're going to need an EM plant. So the EM plant makes processing units, and this is not the right spacing for it, but that's fine. We'll figure that out in a minute. So we put in red and green circuits, and we get blue circuits out. Then once we have the blue circuits, oh, and it looks like that space platform showed up with the one cryogenic plant. Alright, so we have our blue circuits, then we need to... So the actual source of initial blue circuits is going to be the recycling stuff, right? So these guys produce like 1 trillion blue circuits per scrap, and we can even... I guess we can even change these to productivity modules or something if we're worried about wasting scrap, which I'm currently not. But that is an option as well. I think I could have sworn I'd like done some Oh wait, no, scrap can't be productivity module. I always forget that. Because that would be just too convenient. Alright, so yeah, this gives us our blue circuits. This gives us our sulfuric acid. And then we just recycle the blue circuits. And so yeah, we recycle the blue circuits and feed those into a box probably. And then feed that box back into there. And then we take the output of this, we feed it back into the recycler probably. And then we just sort of go from there. Yep, definitely going to be doing that. So yeah, just put the best productivity modules you can get into there. Okay, let's try to just get this sulfuric acid bit a little bit better. Alright, so we want this sulfuric acid production to be more compact. And how much does this need? This needs like 1 each. Okay. So that's good. So if that's like 1 each, and this produces like 100 each, if we can get even one of these running anywhere reasonably close to max speed, then that will be good, and we won't have to worry about it. And with productivity modules and speed modules and stuff, that should be pretty cheap. So like what's a reasonable productivity bonus for a cryogenic plant? Where are you? Just like even with regular ones, it's like plus 80%. So that, yeah. Not actually all that much acid is going to be needed for this. So it'll just be the red and green circuits. And then what's a good... What sort of productivity bonuses are we getting for these? 175% on that, plus whatever the blue... Oh wait, this would be more indicative, like 195%. I could have sworn I had more. I have 6 of these researches. Or I have 5 of those researches. Okay. So I'm not quite up there yet. I guess we can put our future research towards that. Okay. So if the sulfuric acid production isn't going to be really all that big of a deal, then we need to work out how the rest of this thing is going. So we have probably... We're going to have to pull from a scrap sorter thing up here like this, but we're going to have to make it better. So that's going to be another step we have to work on. And then we're going to filter the blue circuits out of that and bring them down here. So the blue circuits are just going to be sitting on a belt going in like that somewhere. And then they go into the recycler. And how fast is that recipe? It's 0.62 second crafting time, so with quality modules it'll be more like 0.5. Alright, so that's actually like kind of a little bit sketchy in terms of 1 recycler to 1 EM plant. Yeah, I don't know how well that's going to work. So this quality module, do I even have epic quality modules? No, I have legendaries. I sent some over a little bit ago for the whole man plate stuff, I think. We don't have fast inserters on this planet. Did we just skip straight to bulk inserters? Yeah, that's what happened. I said, why would you ever bring fast inserters? Because they're on the hotbar and I keep clicking them without thinking. Okay, so it would be something like this. Then we have the sulfuric acid pipe. Would be sort of going down that way. So we have this space in here to work all the belting around and get the output, which The output might be the tricky part, actually. So we need to take from... we need to take from here, in case any of those become legendary. We want to be able to preserve the legendary red circuits. Yeah. Yeah, no, I have a way of doing this, which I've done it on Vulcanus, where... Okay, let's see if I remember. We have... why do I need to remember? I'm just going to look. So we have 4 decider combinators. Each one is like a latch on one of the different quality levels. And then if it's active, it sends it through to this selector, which just picks the highest of all of those and then sets the recipe in the machine to do that. And that way you can do the whole thing with just one machine and not have to worry about all the different ones. Now that worked when I only had one thing. So this is just wire to copper, back to wire, back to copper. It might get weird. Recipe swapping resets the productivity bar? I did not know that. I did not know that. And besides, this doesn't actually recipe swap all that often. So the entire reason I'm doing it this way is I build up like a lot of the higher quality things and I burn through all of them at once. So the actual amount of recipe swapping, it doesn't do it that frequently. So it's not a big efficiency loss, I don't think. I mean, it's obviously not perfect, but it's not so bad. Okay, anyways. So we have this. Can I just... How are we gonna adapt this to multiple ingredients? We're gonna have to check both of them individually. So let's just copy that and bring it over here. And just pop that down. Okay. So that all goes in. And then we have this. So this is going to be green circuits and red circuits. So we're going to need to set all of these over, and then we're also going to have to check. We're going to have to check that it has both of the ingredients. Are these guaranteed? Hang on. Are the results of this recycling? The green circuits are guaranteed. The red circuits are a coin flip. It's probably fine. So if we just check for the red circuits, the green circuits should definitely be present, right? Probably. I sure hope that works. I guess we'll find out. Right, I did these in a dumb order because I forgot about uncommons. So these get set over to red circuits. These get set over to red circuits. If only there's some better way that I didn't have to do it this way, but I spent so long staring at circuits trying to figure it out, and I couldn't manage it. So this all goes over. Is that the one I just did? Yeah, it is. And then we flip this one over. So there we go. So those are all set to red circuits now. Yeah, definitely like getting exact ratios between the machines is also a good way of doing things, but I like doing it this way just it's more flexible sort of. You don't have to do the math, it just the game works out for you. Okay, so I think that's all that set up, except that this needs to be set to blue circuits, I think, because of just the weirdness of how that works. Okay, so we then feed that into... Wait, so this is technically placed wrong. So this needs to be... How did I do this on Vulcanus? This was like the exact same setup, right? With the exact same machines and everything. Okay, so just for the spacing to work, that goes up from here instead of down. So we cut that, place it beneath you, then that goes up there, and then it bulk inserts to there, and bulk inserts back into there. Okay. So then we get those settings pasted across. And what else was there over here to think about? Oh, I actually put these off to the side so I can tile them vertically. That is obvious. So we cut those again, and the blue circuits are going to be coming in from this side. The sulfuric acid is going to be coming in from the other side, probably. I don't think it matters which side I put this on, although it might matter for tiling purposes if we want to have outputs from both sides. Alright, so then this goes... Actually, can we fit this in there? No, because the belt needs to pass through there, obviously. So that, we'll just place it... There's a random requester chest that got caught up in this. I don't know. So we'll just place you there. That doesn't need to exist. That requester chest does need to be there. Okay. So that's in. That's in. And we get our sulfuric acid pipe, which would be going along like that, presumably. Alright, now we just have to hope that this actually works. And let's see here. How do we even do a quick test of this? That's the one problem with this setup, is that the cycles it goes on are long, which is better for efficiency, but it does mean that if you want to actually test that it's working, it's kind of annoying to do, because you have to wait a while. Get a couple more power poles in where they're missing. Okay, so that does that, and then this gets productivity modules. Do I have legendaries here? No, I don't. Do I have epics here? Might. I do, I think. Yes, there we go. So that will have to tide us over for now. Plus 200% productivity is pretty good. Okay. Yeah, the current holmium grinder thing is just old. This is something that I set up very quickly and didn't really think that much about a long time ago. And it's been working well enough. Like, I haven't run out of holmium plates or anything, so I haven't really messed with it any. Alright. So we've got this. And I believe... Okay, so I believe this feeds into there. And this box goes just down into here, right? Yeah, okay. Pretty easy connections there. That box goes to there. And I believe... Theoretically, this might work. Am I forgetting something? I never know. There's like an intended best ratio of like quality modules to productivity modules in these, and I've looked it up like 10 times and I've always forgotten what it is. Like, is this supposed to be like one quality module in here sort of thing, or I don't know. Okay, so this is all set up. We have... Where's our supply of blue circuits? I guess we can just pull them in from the logistics network just to test it for now. So eventually we're going to actually run a belt down here, but just to make sure that nothing catastrophically explodes, we can just do it like this. And let's get a drone port in. And that goes down. That goes in. Oh, I forgot to actually set this whole thing up. Okay, so you also get a requester chest for ice cubes. There we go. Then we get power poles in all of these. And I never got the second cryogenic plant. So that's going to be a problem. Is one of these guys carrying it? You have them, and you've got a couple stops before you get to Fulgora. Okay, but you will get there eventually. And also, we have 16 here now, so that's good. Okay, so that'll happen eventually. In the short term, do we just set up a chemical plant for it? Probably. Yeah, so let's just replace that with a chemical plant, and I'm just going to have to remember to swap it back eventually once we're done with the testing. There is that. Oh, we also need iron plates. I forgot we needed iron plates for this. Okay, iron plates. We probably have iron plates somewhere on this planet. I sure hope so. We don't need many, anyways. Alright, so you can all be productivity moduled, and then let's see, we get some speed modules in here probably as well. Although that probably won't be necessary with how little this actually needs. Okay, so that then gets powered up. And then we need to... I built this thing which needs heavy oil just very far from the coast, because of course I did. So we go offshore pump, just pop that in somewhere, and build a long pipe off to there. Yeah, I know acid can be made in cryoplants, I just haven't gotten a second cryoplant delivered yet. So until that happens, I'm just doing it this way so that we can get this started. Oh wait, I'm dumb. This needs to be filtered. You need to be filtered for legendary quality only. And then you need to be filtered for not legendary quality. That filter doesn't actually matter, I think, because it won't ever do anything, but it's good to have. Alright, so we've produced various qualities of these, so that's working to start with. And the base quality, which one is that, is here, and it isn't turned on. Oh, this needs to be set recipe, that's important. Okay, so that's set recipe, and it's just gonna sort of sit there doing nothing interesting. And I guess we're gonna have to deal with the other outputs of this. So this is going to be outputting. Oh yes, it can. Is that going to cause problems with the recycler speed though? Although I guess if it does. I did at some point make these legendary, so we can just make that extra fast and see if that helps. Okay, so then that gets powered. Okay, so this is doing its thing. And it is outputting 8 green circuits and 0.8 red circuits per second. This, I need it to get a recipe so that it can start. It's not going to start until it gets how many red circuits? 300? Alright, no, we're setting that down. You can temporarily start now, just to see what happens. Okay, we're not getting anything through. And this... Oh, we need a different way of getting the green and red circuits out of here when they are replaced, because normally it's just like the same thing that we're recycling anyways, but in this case it's different. Okay, so we're gonna have to, let's see, if we move that out, then this, how is the spacing for this gonna work? You go out onto a belt and then down into that same box you were just in a moment ago, and then this will be filtered for any quality green circuits and any quality red circuits, and then this one will be filtered for any quality blue circuits, probably. And then that all gets powered. And then we put this in. And I can't even see where... Okay, no, that... So now that has a recipe, that's going. So this takes out 7 green circuits, 0.7 red circuits, and a little bit of sulfuric acid. And this outputs 8 and 0.8, so this needs... It's a good thing that this can use speed modules, or speed beacons, because it's going to need a second one to keep up. We don't want this box to actually fill up. We just want it to be a buffer which fluctuates, which means that this needs to be faster than this. And... Okay, now that's theoretically true. You don't want to keep any legendary blues. You're right. I can do that. Alright, so we just take that out. This will be less than rare. And then this one will be rares. I could have just done the blacklist thing, that would have been easier. But whatever. So then that goes out into there. And alright, so now that works. Theoretically that works. And that's a whole lot of green circuits. We are using all those, right? Using 10 a minute, outputting 8 a minute. This should be fine. This should be fine, probably. Okay, but now we have this other problem. I know I dealt with this on Vulcanus. How did we do that? Did we have you... Right, we had that. So we need to disable the input if this box gets too filled. So that would probably be green circuits, or it should probably be red circuits, right? Greater than too many. Alright, so you will be enable disable on green circuits or red circuits, whatever, greater than maybe 100. So that should keep this from running unless there's enough space in the box. And we're gonna have to figure out through trial and error what all these numbers actually have to be in order to work properly. And it might be that this doesn't need to do much of anything. Alright, so now this is running pretty much continually, except when it's output full. Why are you output full? This should be able to take This should be able to take 1.6 blue circuits per second, while this does 1.4. Less than processing? Less than legendary? Yeah, no, that is correct. That's correct. Oh wait, no, is this wrong? Oh yes, this is wrong. Okay. Yeah, I always mess that up. I always think it's like a turn it off if this is the case, when it's actually a turn it on if this is the case. Like, my intuition is just backwards on that. Alright, so now that's good. Now this should work. And we should be clear now. Alright. So that... Is it working? We need to just get all this stuff out of here. It's not supposed to be in that box. That's supposed to be the box for legendaries only. And now, I guess... Now we just have to deal with the fact that it takes forever for this to work. And we're still working on the tier 1s. So we haven't even gotten enough... What are the settings on this? How many do we need? Like 100 of each? Except for the uncommons, which we need 300 of. And the normals, which apparently we only need 30 of. Alright, so yeah, this will take a lot of time to warm up. It seems fine. Like, the amount of regular green circuits was like 1.1k earlier. It's down to like 900, which means it's probably not gonna overfill, although it might get close. I don't know. We'll have to figure that out later. For now, I think we are going to wrap the stream up here. So, thanks everyone for hanging out. Had a lot of fun today fiddling with all these quality-based stuff. It's real complicated and takes a lot of thinking to figure out what you even want to be doing. Set the normal a bit higher, the left feed will keep running. Yeah, okay. Yeah, I'll do that. So yeah, that's about it. Thanks everyone for hanging out. I will be back again on Monday. So I stream every weekday from 2 to 5-ish. Sometimes I end a bit early, sometimes I go a bit over. So that'll be that. So if you're interested in that, make sure to stop by then. Otherwise, I'll be doing Satisfactory on Tuesday as well. So yeah, that's about it. Thanks everyone for hanging out. And I will see you guys next time. Bye.